Did America just save itself from destruction? Looking at history, I often wonder why the Creator allows certain civilizations to continue. How long did the Romans, Assyrians, Aztecs, and Mongols proceed with their genocides, atrocities, and decadences? I do not believe the United States has come close to or surpassed the aforementioned civilizations. For that, slavery and the extermination of the Native Americans would have had to have lasted at least 500 to 1,000 years and have been on a much greater scale. As a thinking man of African descent, born and raised in the United States, I have often wondered why the Creator has not sent a punishment down upon the United States for its iniquities. Slavery, Negro oppression, aka white supremacy racism, abortion, gay marriage, radical feminism, sabotaging other countries through coups and sanctions, sexual reassignment, unregulated capitalism, the destruction of religion, and the pure disregard for the Abrahamic God, the Creator. I ask myself, for how long will God be mocked? And a little anecdotal here. I recently fully gained the answer to that question, and I realized that America is a great nation, and that's another video. Nothing in this world is perfect. As a man of African descent, the obsession with anti-black racism is utterly disturbing and really prevents this nation from being what it could be. Continuing. It was as if America was taunting and tempting the Creator into destroying her, emulating the ways of previous nations who were destroyed. It should be noted that there are satanic small hats who believe that manifesting the signs of the apocalypse will bring it about. Research sabotaged Zebi, the Don May, and that religious movement. I believe he was a rabbi or a Jewish mystic. He was forced to convert to Islam, but the beliefs of his followers are quite intriguing. America routinely saves itself from being destroyed by the sin of Negro oppression, i.e. the Civil War and the Civil Rights Movement. Enough white people side with and fight for the truth in order to avoid divine destruction. Laws are passed and the country can save face to God. Yet recently, America surpassed racism and the slow genocide, which is Negro oppression. America became a proud, gluttonous, sodomite debtor. Let me repeat that. America became a proud, gluttonous, sodomite debtor. The breaking up of the family, the love of debt, credit, and promotion of degeneracy. Sexy Red, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. These whores of Babylon are things God hates more than violence. I honestly believe, and do your own research, but I honestly believe that killing a man, in the Quran it says to take one life. is to take the lives of all of humanity is less detestable to God than perverse sexual sin. They're both probably up there. Although I am Muslim, I have watched America mock Jesus and Christians profusely. America went from a sin God is quite tolerable of to those he is revolted by. Now, God is tolerable of racism because most people are racist or prejudiced, but eventually, like, it blows up, and like I said, it blew up in the Civil War and the Civil Rights. That's where America just not doing what they had to do before they were forced to do it really bit them in the ass. At least when America was openly racist, it was also Christian and God-fearing. The only sin that caused them to suffer was their racism and oppression beforehand. Now, they are still racist, yet openly in rebellion. Practically a satanic society based in reversing God's order. This brings me back to my initial question. What is God waiting for? Between racism, Negro oppression, and abortion, transgenderism, what is he waiting for? Here's the answer. Before God destroys a nation, they are always warned and given a chance to repent. This is true in all Abrahamic faiths. If the nation is split, it will be saved, likely through civil war as it was in 1862. But if a small number repent, then those will escape the grand destruction of the nation. From the passing of gay marriage until now, I was under the impression that the majority of Americans were for the ultra-progressive satanic social reforms. It looked like most Americans approved of idolizing sex and drug-addicted celebrities. It looked like America supported talentless whores corrupting their daughters. Truly, God cannot be mocked, but he is patient. So warners come, and a choice has been presented. Kamala Harris, that was childish. Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. The cult of Ishtar or the cult of masculinity. If America would have chosen incorrectly, even by a small margin, it would have symbolized America's dedication to deception and degeneracy. The rejection of the Democratic Party in the election of Donald Trump has spared America. Unconsciously and by the skin of their teeth, Americans have saved themselves. God put America's destruction on the ballot, and America chose correctly. So much so that if Donald Trump, which I do not believe he will, becomes everything the Democrats say he will become, America still won't go down because they voted for the truth. They voted for the right thing. Even if he was lying to us about putting America first and ending wars and fixing our economy, we voted for objectively the right thing. So even if he doesn't keep any of his promises, America still chose correctly. The second reason America will be saved, for the nonce, because its citizens are largely unaware and or opposed to the nation's foreign policy and espionage/sabotage operations. Therefore, the American people can save some face to all the nations whose development was sabotaged by the United States. There is a moral and ideological divide between America's elite and its masses. In the end, this misalignment will be the American people's saving grace. In addition to this, Americans themselves are manipulated and lied to with psyops, false flags, and yellow journalism. The ignorance and domestic brainwashing has produced a lack of culpability for the American people in regards to their government's actions overseas. An example of this was the average American being staunchly against the war in Ukraine and the genocide in Gaza. They only show these liberal idiots cheering on. And listen, the only two people I've ever voted for in my life, presidents, was Obaka Baraka. was Barack Obama in his first term, and Donald Trump in his second term. I want you to know right now, I knew the people's policies and their values, but Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris had no swag. And I was no swag or masculinity. And I was born in the era where the president was getting head in the Oval Office. Okay? I was born in the era where the president was playing saxophone, getting head in the Oval Office, eating good, and we had a surplus. So yes, the only two presidents I have ever voted for was Barack Obama in his first term, and Donald, I almost said Scrooge McDuck, Trump in his second term. That's the only people I've ever voted for. Because I'm not a weirdo. You understand? Both those candidates were good leaders. One may have been kind of gay and evil. The other may be a bit of an ass sometimes. But they're men who could sit on a horse, speak to the vanguard, give a speech to the vanguard. You know? You got Sleepy Joe over here. You got Kamala Harris. You got this evil Hillary Clinton. Come on, man. You can't ask a man to vote for such weak, incompetent, uninspiring people to lead them. You're crazy. Getting back to the point, because I don't want to help these satanic Democrats, cobble up another Clinton. They're anti-male, so I don't even know how they're going to do that. But if you recall, in America is Doomed Part 1, I mentioned the drop in quality of the average citizen, the overweight, androgynous, purple-haired, fat feminist, well, I already said overweight, was protected and given a voice, while masculine, principled men were silenced. This election was a rejection of the former. Rather, Americans are tired of the mental illness, violence, and sexual confusion going rampant in our youth. Everyone can agree that Gen Z are a group of weird ass niggas. They're weird. Now, millennials were the last generation that actually believed in America. Gen Z is just full of nihilism. We are tired of losing our identity, culture, and freedoms. Leave guns alone. Leave Star Wars alone. Leave Lord of the Rings alone.